All right, we are officially started. Welcome, everyone. I see we've got people trickling in. Thank you for joining us today to our webinar. And if you have been wondering which webinar title this is, well, we've got it here shared. This is, I want to say, our most anticipated webinar. Folks have been asking so much about how do we unpack more about the Magic Box here in my Viewboard software suite. So it's definitely a big anticipated webinar that we're excited to be able to present to you all. And again, all of this only happens with you and your feedback to us. And so we're able to put those efforts and make any of this that you see possible because of your feedback. So we want to thank you. So if you see that we've got folks trickling in, and we'll give it another minute or two. So in the interim or in the meantime, there is a chat box there. If you don't mind, perhaps chatting where you're logging in from, just so that we can break the ice a little bit and also wait for a couple of folks that are trickling in so that we can give you guys all sorts of shout outs. Excellent. All right. Thank you, William, from Granada Hills, California. All right. Thank you. Hopefully enjoying some weather. Excellent. Thank you for joining us. And we've got, all right, I see a couple folks here. Looks like, oh, Marjorie. All right, fantastic. From Connecticut. All right, Connecticut is in the house. And we have Delphi, Indiana, and Lordston, Ohio. We've got Pennsylvania. Shout outs to Lori. Shout outs to Courtney Rogers, Chicago, Illinois. And we've got Jill, all right, from Indiana, more Indiana folks, and Pennsylvania folks. All right, cool. Excellent. Gilbert from Arizona. Excellent. Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for putting that on the chat there. So a couple of housekeeping items, and that is the chat window is for your comments throughout the whole webinar. So please put that in there. And then we have a Q&A icon there. And so any questions that you may have, please place them there so that we can answer them in that order that it comes in. Ultimately, this hour will go by very fast, and we've got a jam-packed session to be able to present to you all. So we want to be able to answer all questions within that hour. And at the same time, it helps us be able to see what kind of common questions we encounter. All right. Well, I don't want to delay any further. I think it's time to begin. So without further ado, please give a round of emoticons in the chat to Miss Haley here. That's going to be our presenter today. Thank you, Haley.
Hi, everyone. So thank you, Ruben, for that introduction. I'm excited to get started today. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name is Haley Hunt. I am the Associate Product Manager here at ViewSonic, and I get to work on our view boards and also our My Viewboard Whiteboard software, and also a few other great things that we have here. If you have not joined our other webinar series, we've had a couple already going out throughout the summer and also a few other ones during the school year as well. But today we're going to be focusing on specifically exploring the Magic Box. So I know that this is a highly anticipated one, so I'm going to dive right into it. We're going to go through an agenda. We're going to try to stay on track. I have some fun things for us to do, and then Ruben's going to come back and share some great other opportunities for you all as well. So again, just as a reminder, as Ruben said, if you have any questions as we go through, please feel free to use that Q&A box. That's going to be able to allow us to answer your questions live, so that if you have anything that's been nagging at you, you have any questions I've gone too quickly, please let us know and we'll get to you. So first of all, we're going to get started. I'm going to show you an introduction to the tools that we're going to be looking at within Magic Box. Then I'm going to show you some of the lesson planning tools that you can use throughout Magic Box. And then if you've been part of our webinars already, I love including a small game. So if you are new, it's going to be a fun introduction to how you can actually use all of these different tools within My Viewboard Whiteboard to actually enhance your lessons. But it's also going to be a fun game time to make sure that we understood what we were looking at today. And then of course, we're going to be going through our new ViewSonic Educator community, which is going to be a great place for all of you to get together and share information. So I'm going to go ahead and advance. And what I was mentioning earlier was that we had the summer webinar series. So if you joined us at the end of June, we talked all about lesson planning. So using the tools at your disposal, using the whiteboarding app to actually create lesson plans. Today, we're going to be focused on Magic Box because it is just a great tool and a great resource for all of you to look at. Tomorrow, we also have another one with one of our great introduction partners, Bridget Smackpin. She is going to be doing quick review games. And then later on this month, we're also going to carry on the series with student engagement. So if you enjoy your time today, please know that we're going to have more of these. So feel free to reach out, get introduced to what we have. So let's get into this introduction to Magic Box. So before I get started, there might be a poll question that might come your way. And within there, we're going to just ask you a couple of questions throughout this lesson, just so that we can get some information from you so that when we start to plan these webinars in the future, we can make sure that we are focusing on the items that are important to you. So if you are here today, you probably have a good understanding of Whiteboard and the layout, or you've also joined some of our webinars in the past. But what I would like to do is just to give you a brief overview once more of the layout of Whiteboard. So as you can see, there are so many tools at your disposal. There are so many things that you are able to do, such as seeing your whiteboard session name with being able to share a QR code. When you're working on a lesson, making sure that you're looking at the correct one by looking up at this title bar. And then down, we're going to be looking at background management. And there's also the participate mode, which is great for in-classroom settings. But we're going to be focusing more on the main toolbar down below. And specifically, when I click on the laser pen here, which again, we highlighted this in our last webinar, there's so many great tools that you can use as you're teaching, but I'm going to use this laser pen to highlight down at the bottom of the screen on the main toolbar. I'm pointing at it with the yellow arrow. So now this here, the brown box, is what we're going to be focusing on today. This is the Magic Box. So this is Mary Poppins' purse. This is the Amazon package. This is whatever you want to call it. I've had so many of my colleagues refer to it as different things, and each one seems to stand out to me because there truly is so many different things and tools that you can utilize within this awesome package. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So why don't we go ahead and click on the Magic Box. So once again, pointing with the yellow arrow, I'm going to click on the Magic Box, and now we have all of these amazing tools that pop up. So I'm going to be focusing on one by one all of the tools available in this top banner within Magic Box. So we're going to go and click on each one. I'm going to give a few explanations, but we're also going to see some practical implications of how you can actually use this within your lesson planning. This is also going to come in handy for student engagement, which is coming up in some future webinars. But as you can see, the Magic Box has so many tools available at your disposal. We have sticky notes, we have math and science tools. We even have the ability to use different document cameras. We have YouTube, images, online widgets if we're using Windows. And right here, I'm going to point out also, for my setup today, I am using my Surface Pro. So that's going to be a Windows device, and I'm using it on my desktop. I'm also using a mouse to go ahead and navigate through my slides. But the great thing about my ViewBoard Whiteboard, if you didn't already know, is that it can be used across platforms. So it can be used on your computers, it can be used on your interactive displays, so your view boards within your classrooms, but it can also be used on iPads as well. So there's a lot of different applications that you can use with the whiteboarding app. And so today what I'm going to be showing you is the version for Windows. So what you may see might be a little different, especially if you're using the Android or the version for iPad, but don't worry, I'm going to be showing you some of the tools that you can use. These versions are very similar, and as we are, constantly improving our software, we're going to be adding more tools. So I'm going to be probably asking for your opinions on what you would like to see next if you're not using Windows. But I just wanted to get ahead and share with you all what I will be using throughout this lesson. So again, we have lots of different tools here in Magicbox, and it's just a great way to go ahead and access these fun tools, but also show you how you can import your lessons, which I'm going to be showing you directly how to do that next. And first of all, this is how you're going to be doing your lessons. So as we know, the box down here, we're going to use the laser pen again one more time just to show you and get used to where this is going to be. I'm going to click on the magic box. I'm clicking on it with my mouse, and now it's pulling up again the magic box here. As you will notice, there is going to be this image of a drive. So as you can see, I'm using the Windows drive. So this is my local device. On here, it's going to store information from my desktop, the local disk, and I'm going to have access to all this depending on the device that I'm using. So if you're using a viewboard in your classroom, you will also have access to this storage. But I'm sure many of you are very busy. You might want to do some lesson planning at home so you're not having to spend all of your free time within your classroom. That is where the great nature of being able to use this across platforms comes into play. So that is all capable using cloud storage. So personally, I am using my OneDrive for business, but there are different cloud storages that you are able to apply to your account as well. This can be Google Drive, Google Classroom, this can be Dropbox, etc. There are different platforms you can use. Again, I'm using OneDrive, but there are different ones that you can actually bind to your account. And this is something that can be done very quickly. And what I would like to show you is I'm going to pull that up right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Windows button, and that's going to take me to my desktop. So I have shown this in a few other webinars. This is a great tool if you're using Windows, but now I'm going to go ahead and pull up my navigation, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my bookmark and go to myviewboard.com. By going to myviewboard.com, it's going to give me access to all of my sign in and dashboard options. So if you have a myviewboard account, which I'm assuming that some of you have, but if you still need more information, please let us know. Put that in the Q&A or in the chat box, and we'll send you more information about that. But when you have your myviewboard account, it's going to take you to this dashboard. And there is a little circle here with a person in the middle. And let me go ahead and use my tools to mark this. We're going to focus on this circle here. So I'm going to go ahead and press on this, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this mark because now we know where we are. I can go down to this option. I'm going to highlight it one more time using the laser pen. Cloud integration. So this is where you're going to go for that cloud storage. By being able to do this, I'm actually able to click on my cloud integration and look at all the different options. It's as easy as just clicking the bind button, and it will take you to a login page, and it will just ask you like which one you want to continue to use. It will be a single sign-on ability, and then once you have that available, you can go back to your account and you'll see it within Magicbox, and it will appear as these different tiles across this gray tile bar right here. So now it's going to be able to store all of my files, and from Magicbox, I can begin to start to go through my files, and I can actually input different types of items. So as you can see here, I can import a picture, and this is going to be just a picture of our manager logo here that we use. But you can also have access to different files as well. So you can use this within file types to actually either choose to use all compatible formats, or you can look for specific images. You can look for audio files, PowerPoint. You can also include the ability to use other different types of whiteboarding softwares and be able to include them within your viewboard as well. So if you're coming from a district that has used notebook or flip chart files, you're actually able to find those and import them directly using Magicbox. The great thing about that is that it will convert it to what we call our open learning format. And that is going to be what is all of these whiteboarding files are going to be saved as. they'll be saved as a .olf file. So now you can take your previous lessons that you've already created in a different whiteboarding software and put it directly within whiteboarding. So it's going to save you time. Hopefully it's going to be able to keep all of your files that you've spent a lot of time creating and be able to easily access those. So this is a great place where you can go. You can import those images like I showed you. You can import previous lessons. I can even import specific OLF files that I've created in the past. So let's say I have a math lesson that I've put together, but I have had a few games that I've included in previous lessons. Well, instead of having to build from scratch or importing images all over again, I can actually click on a specific OLF file, and it's going to pull up some additional options for me. So once I click on it, as you can see, this is my previous webinar. I'm able to pull in specific items and specific slides, and it will import into my document. So let's say I want to import this slide about creating a lesson plan. Now I have the ability to either select a few or even all at the bottom here and import it within my presentation. So now it's going to bring up that presentation in that slide that I had created the last time that I'd had my webinar. And now it's going to be within the slide. So now it's going to keep all of this together. And I'm going to go back to my cloud storage slide just to talk about this a little bit further. This is going to be a very important tool. Again, clicking that magic box, going to the cloud integration. Anytime that I have something created or I find something online that I enjoy, I have the ability to bring it in. So that is the cloud storage. This is going to be an important tool for you as we continue to go on, but I do want to show you some important tools as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slide on, and now I'm going to take just another second, brief pause here in case we have any questions. Please feel free to put those in the Q&A chat right now. If not, we can go ahead and move on. So here I want to show off a few other things. Oh, great, we have a poll. So I'll take a brief break here. Please take time to answer that poll. This is just going to help us gather some more information. And I believe the question is, what grade do you teach? Okay, I'll give you all a few additional seconds to put that together. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and open up Magic Box one more time. Okay, great. So now in Magic Box, there is another tool that I want to share. So beyond importing files, you can actually use specific tools that are going to enhance your lessons. And the first one I want to talk about is sticky notes. So think about all the sticky notes that might be cluttering your desk. I know in my desk at the office, I have a few cluttered around my desk, some reminders, but also some task planning. So you actually can use digital sticky notes on your Viewboard, or you can use it in your computers as well. So by clicking on a sticky note, I am able to either draw on it. And again, I'm using a mouse, so please note that my drawing skills are not up to par. I can draw on it. I can type. I can say a reminder to grade papers. I can change the font. There are so many different tools available within here that it's just going to make it a little bit more unique, a little bit better to your liking. I can go ahead and erase this drawing since I don't need it. And I can leave it as is, or I can go back to the text. I can enter, so I want it in the middle. I can even bold it, italicize it, underline it. And I have the ability to also have it speak as well. So I can actually have something do a live reader. And so when we click on the sticky note, it will actually state what the words are out loud using the speaker on the Viewboard. However, I'm just going to leave it as is. And now I have this awesome sticky note. So if you've been in our webinars or you're used to using whiteboarding software, you may know that we also have the select tool. So if I want to move this sticky note around, even though I have the pen highlighted right now, I want to highlight the select button, and now I'm going to be able to move the sticky note wherever I want. So in this example, I have designated this as a great idea of how you can actually keep track of tasks within your classroom. So if you have classroom chores or activities, or even if you are doing specific lessons or activities with your students, you can have a live tracker of what is happening. So I have this to do for myself. So reminder to grade papers. Now when I click on the sticky note, there are a few other options that you can note. So the first one here, of course, is the trash can. It's going to delete the note if I no longer want it. This one here is going to be object layer. So if I actually have multiple sticky notes, which I'll show you in a second, I can rearrange so that they're stacked up on each other in a different way. So if I click on this again, I can also change the color. So earlier we had the options of yellow, orange, blue, and green. If I decide later that I want to change it, instead of having to create a brand new sticky note, I can go ahead and just change it directly from this view. And then of course, this last one here is going to be another sticky note layers. So it's just going to rearrange them on the canvas, which I'll go ahead and share again once I have the ability to have more on the canvas. So now I'm going to go back to Magic Box and I'm going to add a few more sticky notes. I'm going to get some orange. I'm going to put another text box. I'm going to say we need to do counting activity. And I'm going to leave it as that text box here. I'm going to change the font size. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. That looks good. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to grit another sticky note. I'm going to put this down here. And I am going to say classroom news. And the great thing is that I'm using my keyboard, so I'm easily able to correct typos as I go. I can change the font again. So let's see, we have lots of different options within the Windows tool. Let's go ahead and use this one. So I'm just using this to highlight and show off the different ways that you can use the sticky notes and how you can customize them to how you like, especially if there's a special font that you like to use within your classroom. I can also say organize assignments. And I'm going to leave that one as is. So now we have all these sticky notes available. I can go ahead and click on this blue one, and going back to the sticky note organizer, I can change the order in which they appear. So I'll keep it here, and I can click on this orange one and click on the layers, and now I can bring it to the front, and now it'll stand up. So just like you would use it in PowerPoint or anything else like that, you would be able to reorganize this to how you would like. So now, again, using the select tool, I'm able to move these around. And this can be an interactive activity for you and your students to actually go up to the board and move these around. So you can have a live view of what your activities are doing. So this is just a great way to keep notes or even just keep track of tasks. So that is sticky notes. I think it's a fun tool, especially if you want to just add quick notes. And again, if you are done with it, so let's say we get to the done and I want to delete it. Now you have just a few sticky notes to look at and you can continue on. Let's move on to the next tool within Magic Box. And this is going to be the math and science tools. So again, I'm going to click Magic Box, and the math and science tools are going to appear next to the yellow sticky note here. And one other quick tip to have is if you're using this on a laptop, for example, I can use my mouse cursor to hover over the item, and it's going to give me a brief reminder of what the tool does. So this is tools, use math tools, and more. So by clicking on this, I'm going to have access to all of these amazing tools. So do not worry if you are using the Android version on your view board and you do not have some of these tools. We are actively increasing our software and adding some more as well. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and add this dice. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and then what you want to do is you can either drag or double click and it will go on to the screen. So I'm going to bring this down into the box here. I am going to grab this ruler and bring this in as well. Put it right here. And then I also have a stopwatch that I can bring in. So I just want to highlight a few tools here and how they can be particularly helpful in your classroom environment. So for the first one, dice. Dice are really fun for a game, which I will be showing us later how to use, but you can actually customize these. You can add as many dice as you want. You can change the color of the dice. You can also change the opacity of the background. But one other thing that is fun is you can click on this gear, and now you can actually customize the dice as well. So if I want letters, or if I want to actually click and drag photos into the dice, I am able to do that. But for this, I'm just going to keep it on the original dice and click it here, keep it back where it is, and I'm going to click the back arrow. And now I have these dice. So the way that these are going to function is you're just going to click on the dice or tap if you're using a touch screen, and now they're going to roll. So you can use this for many different activities. You can use it, of course, for math, but you can also use it for language arts as well. So if you're working on spelling or even sentence structures, this is a great way to have it labeled per word. So every time you roll a 4, add a preposition to a sentence, and you can continue on such as that. Another tool here is the ruler. So this ruler is taking up a lot of space. If I want to shrink it down, I can actually hover over to the side so that I'm seeing a left and right arrow, and I can actually change the size of it as well. And now I can move it around back into this box here. The cool thing about this, if I click on the pen tool, so I'm going to click on the pen, and I'm going to just make sure that I have the red enabled so it stands out. I can actually draw on the ruler, and it's going to create a straight line. If I want to change the angle of the ruler, I can again, let's change the color here. I can draw on the ruler again here. So this is really fun for creating straight lines. You can do this for measuring activities. So as you see, there's an inch and a centimeter. So I can also change the orientation of that as well. So this is going to help with your lessons. And then of course, one quick trick that I have, if you're using the ruler, instead of continuing to use this level here to spin it up and down, there's actually a text box here that changes the degrees. So if I just change it back to 0, it's going to take me back to a straight line. So that's just a fun tip to have, but the ruler is going to be great. Another thing that is similar within the ruler are these protractors as well. So you have many different options here, but one thing that I find fun too is that when you input these, you have so many different options available to you. And every time that you draw, it's going to appear just as you would expect. I can change this if I want to do specific angles as well, or if I just want to get the curve in too. And when I delete the tool, those shapes will remain as well. So now I'm going to just go to the eraser. I'm going to erase those marks on this page. And because these have imported as shapes, I will need to go ahead and just erase this, such like that. Now the timer. You have a timer and a stopwatch available to you directly through the whiteboarding software. By using this, I can actually manage classroom activities, put it in the corner while we go through different types of lesson plans to make sure that we stay on track for the day. But it can also be used for quick games as well. So if I want to give each student in the classroom the ability to stay and write as many different types of verbs that they can think of, I can create this timer, or I can do a stopwatch to see how long it takes to complete a lesson. So these are all great tools. And just to show you a few more, I'm going to get rid of this eraser, get rid of the dice, and get rid of this timer. There are a lot of fun tools available that are going to help you with the lesson. You can have things like, you can input a graph with the X and Y axis. You can input another protractor here and compass. And now I can also be able to draw circles, which is very fun. This is just a fun tool to have, especially if you're working on those math tools, or if you want to just draw a circle. This grid here too is going to be available so that you can use it within your lessons, and you don't have to always be doing this on paper or on a document camera. You can actually input points, and by clicking on the options here, I can actually graph and show with my students how we're going to be creating the slope of a line, and I can draw freehand, or I can even have straight lines inputted as well. So these are just a lot of tools that maybe you didn't know existed within whiteboarding software, and how they will enhance your lesson plans as well. So now I'm going to move on to show a few more options within Magicbox. So as you can see, I already talked about the surface camera. I'm not going to spend too much time on here. It's going to work similarly to any document camera that you might have used in the past. But I do want to note about the YouTube and image search. So within the whiteboarding software, there's actually an embedded YouTube that is going to be able to use videos without advertisements in your classroom. So we are the ViewSonic Finches. So I'm going to look up Finch. And by clicking this, I'm going to press search or the enter button, and it's going to bring up educational videos about finches or even different ones. So if I don't see what I like, I can always change this, and I can change finches, and I can see this really pretty picture that matches the Golden finches that we use for our logo, if you are familiar with that. I'm going to double click it and input it here. And now I also can go ahead, make sure that I have select button added here, and I can move it around in the screen. I'm going to put it in this box, and what I'm going to do too is I'm going to include an image of a finch by clicking on this square with a blue background, mountains, a sun, and a search image. So now if I look up finches, now I'm going to have access to a whole library of different images, including some birds. So I'm going to include this one here. And as I mentioned, the finches, for your information, fun fact, they were considered the Golden finches. So I'm going to put those here. So now what I can do within my lesson is I can play the video and I can take notes as we go. So if I play the video, it's going to talk about all the different birds available. I can skip through here and I can get to the specific finches that I want to look at. So this is just a great way to increase your lessons and the ability to see different types of things. And as you find something interesting, you can take notes on it, again, using either a pen or the text box. The image selection here is also going to allow you to highlight certain things. So if I want to, I clicked on the infinite canvas by mistake. I'm going to click on the hand and I'm going to reset that. Fun tip, you can always go to the hand and reset if you accidentally scroll out like I did just now. But by doing this, I can take notes, I can look up different options, just really lesson enhancers. If you want to talk about new NASA findings, you can find a NASA Kids video that is going to be kid-friendly that you can play along with your lesson. So this is just a great way to include different options. And again, these YouTube videos are going to be included embedded, so you don't have to switch between browsers to be looking at videos or go to specific links. You can just have it directly embedded in your Canvas and it can be saved. So you set it up one time and then you can go back to that video that you wanted to show your class. Again, with the images also, this is just a great way to show some visualization for the specific textbook lessons that you're talking about. You can include as many images as you want. You can move them around on the Canvas. And it's really just to allow the students to have some fun images to see how you're talking about the lesson. So those are great tools. Again, in the Magicbox, you're going to see the YouTube logo here, and then you're going to have the images as well. So all of these are going to enhance your lessons. I hope it makes it fun as you are designing different types of activities for your students, and also a way for your students to become more engaged within the classroom as well. So there are many more tools within Magicbox that we did not talk about today. This includes this paper airplane, which we call throw. And then we have these red stars. And then we also have a question and answer block right here. So these are going to be a throw tool, polls, and pop quizzes. These are all additional ways that you can increase your lessons. So your lesson engagement and student participation with these types of tools. Now for this webinar today, I did not want to overwhelm us with all of these new activities that you saw here, but we will have more webinars coming up, and we would love for you to join us to learn a little bit more about these tools. And if you have any specific questions coming out of the lesson today, please feel free to bring those on to the next webinar. Our next webinar is actually tomorrow. So you're going to be with Bridget, and she's going to be talking about quick review games. And this is going to be tying in all of these tools that I just showed you within Magicbox And then later on this month, I'm going to continue on with the student engagement, talking about polls and pop quizzes as well. So these are great opportunities to learn more about Magic Box. As you can see today, there are so many options available. But of course, if you're not able to go to our webinars, or if you do go to the webinars and you have more questions and you want to bring this to your school, we do have plenty of professional development courses that are also available. We have trainers who have many years of experience within the education space, ranging from teachers to administrators, who are able to get together with you and teach you some of these tools more in depth and show you how you can actually use them to enhance your lessons as well. So we have a great team. They're always willing to help out. So if you want more information, please let us know. But with that, I'm going to take another quick break here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a game. So I'm going to be checking for understanding, but I'm also going to show you how some of these tools come together to create an engaging game. So just take a brief second here. I'm going to check the chat, see if we have anything. Okay. Perfect. Okay, great. So now that we have a break, I'm going to go ahead and click on the arrow, and I'm going to advance the slide one more time. And there is another poll question that should be popping up. So if you get a moment to answer that, I'm going to go ahead and show you some tools to access this game. So as a refresher about using all of the My ViewBoard tools, I'm going to click on the select button and I'm going to recenter this text. So the way that we can do that is I'm going to unlock and move the text over and lock it one more time. I'm going to do the same for this text too. So this is just a great tool to be able to access all of your information. I like to use this when I'm creating lessons, which we've probably seen in some of our previous webinars. I'm going to move this away, and now I can also unlock here and move it around. So this is just a refresher showing how you can take text boxes and move them around using the select tool, but you can also lock them into place here. So now we have this available. We have a game here. I'm also going to, even though I have this awesome finch here that I can move around, I'm actually going to be looking up another image of a finch to add to our game as another game token using the image search. So I'm going to go to the Magic Box. I'm going to click on the image of picture search, and I'm going to do finches clip art. And now I have many different images of some birds that I can add, but let's see which one I want to use. I think I'm going to use this blue one here. So I'm going to import it into the screen, and this one showed up with a white background, which is fine, but let's see what other options we have as well. So I'm going to go back to the images, and this time I'm going to do bird clip art. Now I have all of these fun different birds that I can use. So let's try this one. And this one also imports with the white background, but let's try this one that's a PNG. Also a white background. So today we're running out of luck with the SVGs here, but we can use these as game tokens. And now you have all these different images around that you can add with our finch. And I'm just resizing them, which we showed in a previous webinar. But if you need more information, we do have videos on showing all of these tools that I'm using today. And now I'm going to click on this awesome finch that I pulled from ViewSonic Originals. And now I'm able to move it around the board. So as you can see here, I've already imported the dice up in the upper right-hand corner. But as a reminder, I'm going to go ahead and delete this and show you one more time how to access it. So I'm going to go to the Magic Box at the bottom. I am going to go to the Math and Science tools, and now I'm going to double click on the image of the dice. Now I'm going to bring it over to this corner, and I'm going to change the opacity. That's just a personal preference. You don't need to do that. But now you have all of these awesome abilities to create a game. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and ask a few questions, and then we're going to roll the dice and spin this arrow to move us forward. Okay, so what I would love us to do is I'm going to ask a question. If you have the answer, please feel free to put it in the chat. Once I get a correct answer in the chat box, I'm going to either roll the dice or spin the arrow, and we're going to move forward our Finch and our game tokens here and get to the finish line. Okay, let's get started. So very first question. If I want to import a file, which tool would I use? So if you have the answer for that, go ahead and put it in the chat box. If I want to import a file, which tool would I use? Magic Box, yes, exactly. So let's go ahead and roll the dice. So again, when we're using the dice, all I have to do is click it and it will roll. So I got a 6, that's great. So I can move our game token. So I'm going to choose to use this very cute Finch, and I'm gonna move it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. So let's continue on. Let's say that I want to import a compass. Would I be able to use that using Magic Box? Yes or no? Yes. And great, we have some people already mentioning the specific place that you go to within Magic Box, which would be the math tools. So great. So this is a great tool that I'm going to show you how to use right here. We actually use this in one of our previous lessons, and it's actually a spinner using the adorning menu, which is very fun. So I can actually go ahead and click on it, which I have it kind of spaced out right now. And here I'm going to be able to click on it. I have a couple of boxes to prevent this from happening. So by clicking on it, I would be able to spin it. So let's go ahead and add the arrow. So this is just a fun extra step that I've added in some previous webinars in the past, but I'll go ahead and show you how to use that now. I'll go to the shapes and I will go to the arrows, which is the 3rd button, and I can import my own arrow. So now I'm able to actually go to present mode, which again, we've shown in previous webinars, go to select, and now I can select that arrow using the adorning menu to spin. So this is a fun way that we can add engagement within lessons. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please let us know. So now I've rolled a 5. So now I'm going to move my Finch, my game token, again, 5 spaces. I'm going to go and click on the wrong thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this is a great activity that you could use directly on your viewboard, or you could use it on your desktop like I am as well. So my next question, using Magic Box, how would I import a video? And I'll take 2 answers for this. So let's see, if I want to import a video, what can I use? YouTube, great, YouTube, great. There's one more answer too. Great, and I see that as well, uploading from the drive. So as you can see, there's many different ways to add videos to your lesson, so you all got that right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and roll the dice, again, just clicking on it, and I'm gonna move the Finch twice. Awesome. Another question I have. When you are using Magic Box and you save a file, does it need to be saved to the local drive? Yes or no? No. Yeah, great. So we showed this earlier, you can actually use the cloud drive. And so the cloud drive is going to be able to allow you to save it directly to your folders. So now let's go ahead and roll a dice. So I'm going to go ahead and select the arrow. I'm going to go ahead and spin it one more time. Oh, just one, but that's okay. We get more questions in. So my next question is, using the cloud drive, can you list one type of cloud drive integration that you can use? Google Drive, awesome. Yep, and then I use OneDrive, yep. So there's many different options that you can use as well. So let's go ahead and roll the dice. We got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this last question is probably gonna get us to the finish line. So my last question for you all before I hand it over to Ruben is, what is one new thing that you learned today? It can be anything from this webinar. I'd love to see your answers. Okay, someone said the magic box in general. That's great. Magic box tools, YouTube and better, the spinner. Okay, great. So glad to know that you can also learn about the spinner. So we do have a couple of videos on that. And I do actually have a shortcut video posted within our community, which Ruben's going to be talking about right now. So what I'm going to do is, I think that's the perfect segue. I'm going to pass it back over to Ruben, and he's going to be talking a little bit about our ViewSonic Educator community.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley, so much for that webinar presentation. And folks on the attendee list there, if you don't mind putting it on the chat, just again, another big thank you. Emoticons, express it however way you wish. And I'm going to get a chance right now to segue to show you a little bit more about our community. I'm going to go ahead and put something on the chat, and it's an active link for everyone to reference. I know. Thank you, Haley. There you go. I love the love and love the support. Again, Haley is extremely knowledgeable, and she's in the community, if you will. So if there's any questions that pop up that you might have forgotten, feel free to ping her in the community platform. Such a good way to get connected with other educators just like yourself. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn your attention. I'm going to start sharing my screen in just a second, but in the interim, here is my chat so that everybody can get that. And if you could skip all the words, just click on the link. I'm going to navigate you through this process and give you sort of a virtual open house experience. And again, this is step by step. Hopefully you've got a web browser opened up at this point. Thank you, Haley. Awesome. So if you were to scroll down, I see Haley's got it open. Haley, would you like to navigate us? Okay, fantastic. So I see here that folks, if this is familiar, you're in the right spot. This is the actual link. So our ViewSonic Educator community is all designed for you, all the educators, if you will. It doesn't matter if you're K through 12, higher ed, essentially we are looking for you. And essentially here, what binds us together is the software you just got a chance to experience, right? Which is the MyViewBoard software. Whether you have our hardware technology or not, the software is completely free for you to utilize, right? To start thinking about digitizing your lesson experiences for your kids or for your audience, if you will, if you're working with adults, if you will. So if you were to click on that Join Now button, so if you don't mind, Haley, taking us there. Excellent. It's going to take you to this sign in or sign up. So if you currently have a MyViewBoard software, you're going to go to the upper right where it says sign in. But if you don't have it and you're joining us for the first time in this, then I highly recommend to sign up. There are single sign-on options. So if you're a Google person, Microsoft, or an Apple, feel free. Highly recommend to use your school email just so that way you have that kind of separated in the way that's going to be best conducive for you. So anywho, you have those options. Now, I believe Haley has an account already, so she's going to go ahead and sign in. But take that quick second. So once you push that button there, you're going to get redirected to this window here. So this is our dashboard. Many different applications here, so a lot to elect from. So when you heard Haley say, hey, I got this from ViewSonic Originals, this is where you can find it as well. And the button that we're going to focus on right now is the community one. Thank you for annotating that. There you go. It's the spotlight one. So it's the one that's highlighted there in pink. So once you go ahead and click on the community, hopefully everyone's there with me, you are going to get redirected into our platform. So this is our amazing community platform. I'm just going to navigate you, kind of give you the very surface intro level, so that way you get a chance to explore. Really want this to be an experience for yourself. So you get to navigate, you get to choose what you want to be notified with. But essentially in the upper left here, you're going to see, you're going to start off with the home section. And then there's components like news and announcements, pretty self-explanatory. This is where you get a chance to hear a lot about everything that's up and coming for ViewSonic as a whole. And this is all geared towards education, so educators like yourself. And then the start here is going to give you just the very basic intro levels of what to do, so that way you're not lost. You're being able to see what the navigation points are. Learning Center is a great place to essentially seek out what other learnings are happening or developments are happening within ViewSonic software. And the Lesson Hub, what I love about that is if you want to take a look at some inspiration or you're finding yourself in that space where you're just needing that, highly recommend the Lesson Hub. And then the webinars. So something like this, right? You get a chance to meet with us, especially on a monthly basis. And sometimes we have special guests like Bridget Spackman, who will be joining us tomorrow for a webinar. And so that's going to be really amazing. So she is a literacy curriculum developer, so you don't want to miss that. And ultimately you get down to the wish list area. So I love the wish list mainly because your wishes becomes our to-do list. So ultimately keep us accountable. If there's something that you're experiencing that you want to enhance or something that you're not experiencing at all, put that on the wish list. The community board, if you will essentially give you the thumbs up and the support that you need, because at the end of the day, it really takes community to build that community, if you will. So that gives us a chance to really listen to the pulse of what you're looking for so that we're able to make those developments, especially when we go through those updates. Now, the forum, there is a couple of forums there that you're going to see on Haley's window, and you have access to that. So if you want to be part of a global community, well, look no further, you're here. And so if you were to click on the USA and Canada, that's our community here. This is where you're going to find our webinars and our activities. So everything's segmented so that you can see what's going on in the world around you, right? And this is all segmented through multiple regions. And what Haley's showing you right now is the event section. So we like to post things like our webinars, the conferences that we'll be partaking, and take a look, because every now and then we do special promotions and things of that nature that will entice you a little bit there to want to learn more. So this is a great way for us to also see who's getting involved in our community, and ultimately we want to keep promoting you, essentially, if you're looking to take further steps into your learning. Something I don't want to forget is our professional development. So I think, Haley, you just saw it right there. So if you scroll up a little bit to your right, you're going to see these amazing digital badges. So they're broken up into 3 tiers. If you wanted to learn more, I think there was a good question posed earlier. If you're needing from the very, very intro, it's going to walk you through that step. Really, it's sort of a ladder program. So essentially, you're going to increase your knowledge to what Haley just showed, which is just a little sliver of one of the many tools that we've got in the My ViewBoard software. So highly recommend that. This is completely free, self-paced, and it's all done through asynchronous format. So essentially, you're able to kick it off from the very beginning. You can stop and pause at any point, and pick it up on a later time. So if you've got some downtime and you're thinking, okay, I got to boost my knowledge before back to school, this is a great way to start. And it's broken down in tiers where you're able to understand how many hours you're going to be able to dedicate towards this. So definitely something worthy of talking to administrators about. So if you have some kind of program of some sort at your school site, highly recommend it. Take this link, if you will, by clicking the learn more, you're able to see a little bit more context around the professional development program. All right. And then excellent. So something I want to guide your attention. So if you scroll up a little bit, sorry, Haley, for that, all the way to the top there. So you see where it says add post. Well, it's because Haley has already joined it. So let's say if Haley did not join our community, you would have to click on the join now. So it would say join now. So once you click on that join now, you're able to participate within it. So if in case you're able to see it, but you're not able to comment or anything like that, there's one little step there. You have to join now. And the reason for that, it's because, again, you, the user, you, the educator, essentially get a chance to pick and choose what you want to be notified in, and you get notified essentially in that dashboard. So if you want to get really closely connected with our community, it just takes one click of a button there, and then you're able to get notifications and feeds from it, and then you're able to participate, which I think that's the most important part, is your participation. All right, excellent. So I've got one little task to give everybody. And for those that know me, I'm a major giver. Love to give to our community. So if you scroll down just a little bit, I want to do one quick little announcement. So as you know, we've got a webinar tomorrow. If you'd like to join us for that webinar, you can see there in the very big banner, you're seeing Bridget right there, Bridget Spackman. All you would need to do is click on join. It's going to take you to the RSVP page. But again, you are now in our community. I accept you all and I'm giving you all digital hugs here. So essentially, you would just have to register here and then you get the notification. And again, if you're able to make half of it or the first, second half, what have you, we do record them and we post them as a follow-up within our community platform. So that way you don't miss a beat of anything. Now, Haley has done a wonderful job, and I know everybody has given a lot of warm reception there. I'm going to ask for everybody to do one little quick thing. So Haley, if you don't mind taking us back to the webinar posting that we've got for everyone, which is the one right there, exploring the My Viewboard Magic Box. If you don't mind clicking on that, Haley, as an example. So I'm just going to ask for everyone, if you could, take a moment, since we've got a little bit of time here, and just give a comment. So right there where it says your thoughts, give a comment. So for those who give a comment today, I will be raffling off a $25 Amazon gift card. So for those that are participating in the comments, I will do that later today. So I'm going to give everybody a chance. If you want to rush and do it right now, fantastic. You can tune me out. I'll repeat it again. So yes, you heard your ears correctly. For those that go into the community platform, click on the banner there that you see there. Under a USA and Canada form, click on Exploring the My Viewboard Magic Box and just enter your thoughts. Tell us what you thought. Ultimately, what this does for us, it justifies us for us to do more webinars. So if you really enjoyed what you saw today, heard today, got a chance to experience step by step, feel free to do that. And that ultimately puts us in a good position to be able to do more. And so that way we can serve our community, really serve where the areas of needs are. So that way we continue this effort, right? And hopefully that hour or the 30 minutes that we do in the future, we can do it to whatever length that will best meet our community needs. So again, we need your voices ultimately. So if you just put one comment, you automatically enroll for a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. I will pick a lucky winner and it'll be sending your way, and I will contact you via email so that way it gets sent to you electronically. So that's how I go about the sending of the reward, in case anybody wants to know. Excellent. Excellent. Well, hopefully everyone's taking a moment, and it doesn't have to be super heady. It could be very short. It's totally fine. But again, we appreciate all that you've all has shared with us for the good of the group. Again, you know, this education community, if you will, is very special, near to us, and we can't thank you enough. So if you want to stay tuned for more, definitely recommend joining our community. This is a new revamp, a community platform that ViewSonic has been able to bring to you all. This is part of the education team that is working essentially tirelessly to make sure that this experience becomes one to remember and one to be able to utilize over and over again. So we're excited for that. All right. Well, it looks like if there's no other further questions or comments or anything like that, we will leave you with what we learned as a great recap. Thank you, Haley. And you'll be seeing more of Haley and myself as we continue our webinar, monthly webinar check-ins with all. Feel free, don't be a stranger. Please put that in the community platform or just keep joining us. So that way we can see more of your attendees and your points, so that way you can accumulate more understanding when it comes to the knowledge, if you will. So thank you so much. I can already see folks are going to be logging in or logging out, excuse me. Thank you for taking that time in the summer, and enjoy the rest of your awesome day. Thank you, everyone.